take all the medicines and everything. Then there is Bhima was able to defeat Jarasan. So Prabhupada gives detailed this how much powerful Jarasan was, and what was speciality of his birth. So only because of Krishna hinting, he was able to overcome Jarasan. Bhima was able to overcome Jarasan. Similarly, offenders of Draupadi were killed, and thus all the widowed woman's hair were loosened, and they were saved from Durvasa Muni's curse. So he's remembering the mercy on him, his family members, and everyone. So we know this past time as well. Like they were literally on the verge of curse from Durvasa, but Krishna came and immediately, just by taking the remnants of just a little bit pieces of leftover, he was able to satisfy the everyone. So here comes like he is the real bhokta enjoyer, and by satisfying him, everyone will be satisfied. So a number of lessons we can draw. Then he was able to astonish Lord Shiva and demigods and receive various weapons, killed Nivata Kavacha. So even demigods feared him. So they engaged Arjuna's strength, his Gandiva, his skills when he was there in heaven to fight this demon. And finally, when it comes to like the strength of Kauravas was undefeatable. Though externally we see Arjuna has had many powers, but there were great leaders like Drona, Salva, and Bhishma on the other side as well. So remembering all these pastimes, he comes to the conclusion that he even was missing Krishna's emotional support and everything, and his dealings with him. So from that we can understand all the loving dealings which we hanker for can be satisfied only by Krishna. Small incidents, even like just because in the warfield time, when he was feeling thirsty and his horses were feeling thirsty, Krishna made arrangement. Such finer details he's remembering and recollecting. So Prabhupada in there uh, even make sure to hint to the scientists and everyone that though you have advanced, but you don't have that, like boring technique was there available earlier only, and there was so much expert that just with the help of sharp arrows they were able to uh, locate water and even do the boring. Then he is remembering intimate moments, and finally he comes on 21st verse, this wonderful shloka. Tadvai danusta ishava saratho hayaste soham rahi nripatayo yat anamanti sarvam shanena tad abud asad ishriktam pashmam hutam kuka radam ivoktam ishyam. I have the very same Gandiva bow, the same arrows, the same chariot drawn by the same horses, and I use them as the same Arjuna to whom all the kings offered the due respect. But in the absence of the Lord, all of them, at the moment's notice, have become null and void. It is exactly like offering clarified butter on ashes, accumulating money with the magic wand, or sowing seeds on barren land. So he was not just out of gratitude, but he had that strong realization just before returning from Dwarka. All the queens were, he had given shelter to all the queens, but such infidel cowherd men, they fought with him and took back. So though he had all this opulence, same opulence, he was the same Arjuna with strong bows, arrows, that might which everyone feared and were astonished, were no longer with him. So here also Prabhupada makes very important statement, like as it was earlier discussed, like we should not be puffed up by borrowed fumes. So all the skill sets, all these are like borrowed fumes or feathers. Those who have, we should respect and we should encourage them in the service of the Lord. And so if this principle is obeyed, there will be no envy, and both side parties will be very much happy. Further, Arjuna comes to his status like he's lamenting, and he accepts, like Arjuna accepts everything was the will of the Lord. So then he narrates like how this all the Yaduvanshis also have left, and it is by Krishna's will only they had battle among themselves, and the senior Yadus and powerful were killed. They killed the weaker ones, and in this way, Lord made all arrangements. So there, Prabhupada gives a nice understanding, like there is struggle of there is struggle for existence and survival of the fittest are the natural laws, but behind them is the Supreme Lord's direction. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, material nature acts under Krishna's control. So peace or uphill in the world occurs by the will of the Lord. Even the blade of grass doesn't move without his sanction. So this is the thing. If there is peace, we have to understand, recognize, and accept the Lord. And if there are wars, we have to understand because of disharmony, because of not following the uphealing the principles of keeping the principles of dharma intact. These wars are there, so we have to align alien everyone. We have to align and dovetail to follow the principle. That was the Varnashram Dharma. Like the kings were Raja Rishis, and they used to ensure that everyone abides and follows by the rules of the state, rules of the Lord, by way of Manu Samhita. Everything was under control. So all sacrifices, everything should be for the pleasure of the Lord. So this dependence on Lord is the real independence. Finally, Arjuna says that now I am attracted to Govinda's instruction that relieves the burning heart in all circumstances of time and space. So in his lamentation, Arjuna again was reinstated to his position by remembering the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, which he had not kind of forgotten. It was just he had missed out. So he again meditated on all the instructions of Bhagavad Gita which were given when he was on the war field. In this way, and in the conclusion, in the purpose, Prabhupada gives how this Bhagavad Gita, this Arjuna was made just a instrument, and this Bhagavad Gita is meant for every one of us, and it has, even today, it has full potency at any time, any circumstances. For everyone, it is applicable to that extent. It is a truly a Vedic wisdom which has stood the test of time, and it is coming as a sound vibration. So it is not that only because of Krishna's presence Arjuna had that all victory and understood Bhagavad Gita, but in proper parampara, if we take up this Bhagavad Gita, we will will be reinstated, and even we will be getting victory in our place. So it is meant to end all miseries and should be taken shelter by all sincere seekers. Thus, Arjuna was reinstated and transcendent, and he says, absorbed in Lord's instruction and in thinking of his lotus feet, Arjuna's mind became pacified and free from all material contaminations. So here the meditation on the Lord, instruction and meditation on the Lord is not different, and that is real yoga in essence. Finally, they retired timely. They all understood Krishna's arrangement and they retired. Second comes Parikshit Maharaj seeking shelter. So the whole pastimes we are well aware, like Parikshit Maharaj was ruling nicely. Then at certain instant by Krishna's arrangement, uh, he went for hunting excursion and feeling hunger and thirst, he came across Samik Rishi's ashram. Uh, Seeing a cold welcome from him, he tried approaching him, but seeing cold welcome from him, he got offended and he took a dead snake and put it across his around his neck. So although Samik Rishi was in trance, the later his son Brahmana, 5-year-old Samik Rishi Shingi comes and he feels offended and he chastises and at at instance he gives a curse to Maharaj Parikshit to die in 7 days. So this incident is this this is informed to Parikshit Maharaj by Samik Rishi's one of the disciple Gurumukh. So here the important understanding comes in first canto 19th chapter 4th verse. Sachintayam itham atarshnodyatha mune sutako nivritistakshakahya sadhu mene chachirena takshak nalam prasaktasya virakti karanam. While the king was while the king was repenting, he received news of his imminent death, which would be due to the bite of a snake bird, occasioned by the curse spoken by the sage's son. The king accepted this as good news, for it would be the cause of his indifference towards worldly things. So in this, we can see like he was Parikshit Maharaj is also known as Vishnu Rat. So he had like he could have gone to sage and seek forgiveness and nullified curse in some way or the way, but he chose to accept as it is, seeing this as a supreme will of the Lord and the appropriate time, because he would otherwise he would have never thought of um, uh, getting himself detached or renunciation. But he seeing this as a opportunity, he took the decision to retire. He was cursed, so he took and to retire and to take the shelter of sages and seek their blessings, or to ask wonderful questions like for all the humanity to come, like what is best for a person who is about to die, and in general what should a person do, which is the answer to this is forms the entire Bhagavatam in other cantos. So this was very important. This is very important message for us, and even for all the persons, those who are engrossed and entangled in material life. They never think of retiring from the active material life and seeking shelter of Lord. So here the lot of this decision understanding comes like uh, everything is orchestrated by Lord, and it is meant for benefit of devotee. So if it is meant in general for a it is a blessing in disguise. Everything, whatever happens or whatever calamities, whatever reversals one face, it is a blessing of the Lord. Finally, we have to understand that, because once if we are surrender and if you understand, uh, not a blade of grass can move without Lord's sanction. So everything is orchestrated in our life so that we come towards it, we move towards Him. So without any anger, without any arrogance, he accepted the curse. So similarly, we can see in the life of great persons like Prabhupada himself never retaliated. Um, uh, Many things like when he was establishing League of Nation, there was this governor or her wife. she wanted to put the lady ashram, but uh, he totally agreed and he gave it. But he never retaliated and even continued the struggle. Even I recently heard one pastime wherein in Ontario or somewhere there was one Mukherjee. He was regularly attending the sessions, and suddenly at one point he chastised. So Prabhupada did not spoke anything, but later, even while when he was leaving, he asked one of the disciple to get that person Mukherjee, and then but that the disciple said, "What is the need? He's blaspheming." But Prabhupada said, "No, I might have offended him in some way." So this is uh, how the great devotees behave in their personal life, and they exemplify. Mm. Finally, the last is Sukadev's instruction. So Sukadev Goswami, uh, when first of all, even in Parikshit Maharaj welcomes him, glorifies him, and there is one more important verse wherein he says, ki, uh, he says that it is only by Krishna's arrangement that you have been chosen, and like you have come here. So it is only by grace of Krishna. So one more shelter of Parikshit Maharaj we can see in his this words, that the coming of Sukdev Goswami to instruct him also, his understanding is fully mercy of Krishna. And then this Sukadev Goswami, before instructing Parikshit Maharaj, he goes through number of prayers and this. So all this signifies uh, how he is fully taking shelter of Krishna, and there is no arrogance in him or any kind that he will be speaking. He is the speaker of Bhagavatam, and everyone is waiting for him. This verse is very important, very nice verse. I'll just put this verse and finish. 23rd verse of second canto, fourth chapter. Bhuter mahadbirya ima purva vibhor nirmaya shete yadamish purusha punkte gunancho dashasho dashatmakam solam krishna bhagavan vachamsi me. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who enlivens the materially created bodies of the elements by lying down within the universe, and who is his Purusha incarnation, causes the living being to be subject to the 16 divisions of material mode, which are his generator, be pleased to decorate my statements. So Sukadev Goswami here, a very meek and humble way, he presents himself and deepens his pleasure to speak by requesting Lord to um, decorate his statements so that everyone can understand to this. So similarly was the mood of Prabhupada. We saw in Jaladuta diaries, Prabhupada says, expresses the same thing, that I have no qualification, but only if you wish, so desire that I be able to speak something meaningful which this Western audience can understand. So, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, you said in the class that one should not be proud of a borrowed plume. So, whatever one has, it is coming from Krishna. But we find that those who have got something, they naturally become proud. They don't understand that this does not belong to me, it is coming from Krishna. And sometimes we see that other people also do not understand that this is not the quality or opulence of this person, it is coming from Krishna. So my question is this only, that what should one do so that one will always remember that whatever I have or whatever anybody has, it's it is coming from Krishna, it is Krishna's property.
He has to strongly contemplate every time, and through his regular Shastic studies, like when we understand through this sections of Bhagavatam, like such elevated personality as Arjuna, Sukadev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj, that such powers, prestige, everything, whatever qualities, skills we may have, it can be close to that, like whatever, fame, glory, everything, all skills, you can connect with them. So they did not, uh, they are accepting through this pastime, they are accepting that like Arjuna, he went through this challenge that all these powers were infidel, or were not, didn't work for him at time of such crisis, है ना? And we can meditate on various examples. Karna, like what was his situation? So like regular contemplation, hearing from authorized sources, and simple examples, like we hear that in DY sessions we used to hear that Muhammad Ali, the boxer, great boxer, used to say, I am the most powerful. But later in his advanced age, he was not even able to pick up the lamp of the, he had a Parkinson disease. So this meditating that finally birth, old age, disease, they will strike every one of us. So nothing belongs to us. Everything is borrowed. Like Krishna, like every activity, our life, air, everything is in hands of Krishna. So like simple, if person is very much active here, second later he can have a stroke of paralysis. He won't be even able to lift his own hand. What to speak of? And numerous accidents, everything we see, diseases that are very much um, examples. We can see that a person who was any kind of opulence, you can say, and you can see the counter reaction. uh, he's astonishingly rich, but next instant he became a pauper. He is he had all the fame, one wrong in this statement in YouTube, and then he is gone. So you have to contemplate and stay in touch with Shastras. Thank you, Hare Krishna. If anyone they can add.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So thank you so much for telling about so many things. You spoke about how Arjuna was lamenting, but later on he remembered Krishna's instructions and he was pacified. And many things, very systematically you presented everything. So thank you for this. One thing I felt that you should have quoted some slokas. And you also told about Prabhupada, that Prabhupada told that I am going to speak your message to Western audience. You make my this word suitable for their understanding. So thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Chaitanya Prabhu, thank you for a well-prepared presentation on this topic of dependence on the Lord. And you went through basically these three pastimes. And so you elaborately described Arjuna's lamentation and remembering how he was dependent on the Lord for everything. And so from that you had many points for personal application, not being proud and of one's powers, being humble, and remembering Bhagavad Gita. And from Parikshit Maharaj also you had some good lessons to see the blessings in disguise. In that connection, definitely one important point for personal application would be the Tattyanukampam verse in that connection. So that was, of course, in this context of this topic, was definitely very important. So whatever one happens, one sees the hand of the Lord. And of course, you spoke about Srila Prabhupada, but maybe quoting some verses from Markandeya Bhagavad Dharma and elaborating on little more on Srila Prabhupada's dependence during so many calamities of his life. Preaching application, you did mention something about how materialistic people are also dependent. Maybe you could elaborate a little bit more on that. So the materialists thinking themselves to be independent and how they are totally in the hands of material nature. So a few more points for preaching application. A little bit on time management. I felt the initial Arjuna's pastime went for too long, and then the others not so much. So a little bit balance time management. So we should always be aware of how much time we have and accordingly balance things. And one point definitely it would be nice if you put a little bit of more energy. And maybe you have a little bit of more prasad and put a little bit more, put a little bit of.
Yes.
Ah, you were fasting, huh?
No. But that was not really. Somehow.
So, so as to enthuse the audience, and already tendencies to doze off are too high. So in a Bhagavatam class, so a little bit more energy would be helpful to send the message across. So that's something which we can work upon. Otherwise, you nicely prepared the presentation, and there were some important points that you came up with. So thank you very much. Let's show appreciation, Chaitanya Prabhu. Haribo.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay. Next.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. After the session of dependence on Krishna, now I am depending on Krishna to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam, where when I thought of this subject matter, I was myself thinking, Lord Ananta Sesh, with hundreds and thousands of hoods, it says in one sense, not to criticize, but fails to glorify the glories, pastimes, names, forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. And a teeny soul sitting here want to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam, which is none other than Lord Sri Krishna himself. Let's start with prayers. Om Agnantimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarini जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण। Srimad Bhagavatam, the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna himself. Here we can see how Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam represents Sri Krishna. Cantos 1 and 2 represents Lord Krishna's lotus feet. Canto 3 and 4 represents Lord's thighs. Canto 5, Lord's navel, lotus navel. Canto 6, Lord's chest. Canto 7 and 8, Lord's arms. Canto 9, neck. Canto 10, the beautiful lotus face. Canto 11, the forehead, kapul. And Canto 12 is the head. So, yes. Okay, okay. Time constraint. Time constraint. Okay, okay. Pado yadiyo prathama-dvitiyo tritiya turyo khatito yadduru nabhistata panchamayeva sasto bhujantaram dhoryugalam tatanyo kantastu rajannavamo yadiyo mukarvindam dashama parfulam ekadasho yasya lalata patam siropi tu dvadashayeva bhati tam adidevam karunanidanam tamalavarnam suhitvaratram. Before describing the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, or we all, I would like to go with the context, like the appearance of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is also in one sense glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The origin of Srimad Bhagavatam, when we can see how Srimad Bhagavatam appeared in all the sections, like it came from Lord Brahma to us. In all the cases, we can see when people are perplexed of what their goal, what their activities, what is the goal of their existence. So, and what is beneficial. So when people are perplexed, the Srimad Bhagavatam has aroused. When it starts with Lord Brahma. Once Lord Brahma took birth on the lotus and he was frightened. What to do next? How to do? Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, gave this message of Srimad Bhagavatam, and he gave it in 4 seed verses, which we see in the second canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chatushloki Bhagavatam. And the contents of all these 4 shlokas in one shloka is Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. You can all repeat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Gnanam Paramaguhyam Me Yad Vijnana Samanvitam Sarahasyam Tadangam Cha Grihana Gaditam Maya. Here the Lord spoke to Brahmaji about Gnanam about the most secret knowledge about his form. And Vijnana, that realization of his form, Sa Rahasyam Prema Bhakti, and Tadangam Sadhana Bhakti, in order to reach. Then this Lord Brahma gave this message to his son Narada Muni. When Narada Muni approached Lord Brahma, and then Lord Narada spoke this to Vyasdev, and before that, a few notes to note. Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme Lord gave this Srimad Bhagavatam in 4 verses to Brahmaji. It does not mean that Srimad Bhagavatam contains how many verses? 18,000 minus 4. It does not mean that these are seed verses which can be elaborated. And it does not mean that rest 17,994 verses are useless. Srila Prabhupada specifically mentions this in the purport. And Brahmaji also said to Narada, I am giving only these 4 verses which Lord gave me. I am giving it to you. So that's the conclusion. It's not that. You can expand it. You can expand. And this expansion of Srimad Bhagavatam is also taken in parampara. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Rupa Goswami, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Jiva Goswami, everyone expanded this Srimad Bhagavatam because it has unlimited in strength. And it is sound representation of the Supreme Lord. It says that Lord is smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest. Similarly, the potency of Srimad Bhagavatam is we can expand it. So that's why every day we have a Bhagavatam class. Srila Prabhupada introduced that. We take one shloka and we discuss. And the most famous example, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Swami Maharaj. Just Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first verse. Describe it for 3 months. Different answers, but it's 3 months. So then this narration, Narada Muni gave to his disciple, Krishna Dvaipayan Vasa. And last 2-3 days we are hearing from different devotees how Vyasdev, after so much elaborate, extensive work, he got exhausted in his consciousness. He was not satisfied, was feeling low. Then Narada Muni, his spiritual master, approached and asked, my dear Prabhu, what was the problem? Are you thinking your body as yourself? So there was so much elaboration. So then Narada Muni gave in this shloka 1.5.21 that he appreciated Vyasdev's work of 1 Veda into 4 Vedas and supplementaries. So, and he gave the solution for his dissatisfaction to describe the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, more vividly. Then the same author of Vedas on Brahma Sutras, Vedanta, had given this, compiled, there's a beautiful narration of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srila Vyasdev revealed this Srimad Bhagavatam to the greatest of the sage, Sukadeva Goswami, to his son. When Sukadeva Goswami is in his mother's womb, for 16 years he is not wanting to come out. If he comes out, Maya may attack him. So in order to protect himself from that, he wanted to stay in his mother's womb for 16 years. And on Vyasdev's request, he came out and he left his home and moving ahead. And there is also, we have discussed from many devotees, we heard that he was passing through the lake where girls was taking bath, and they asked, and Vyasdev asked, my son passed away, you did not look at him, and you wore cloths why this and things. And Vyasdev wanted to bring back his son, Sukdev Goswami, and teach him this Srimad Bhagavatam. So he sent two of his disciples and requested them to recite the two shlokas, so that he was sure enough Sukdev Goswami will be attracted with this, the personality, the qualities, the compassion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and come back. So one is famous shloka, Aho bakiyam stanakala kutam jigam shayayadapya sadavi lebe gatim ta triuchutam tatonyam kamva dayalum sharanam rajima. The compassion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead attracted the liberated soul, Sukdev Goswami, and the beauty of the Supreme Lord, Barha Pidam Natavaravapu, Karniyo Karnikaram. So Sukdev Goswami went back to his father and learned this beautiful narration of Srimad Bhagavatam, which enlivens all the liberated souls. And Sukdev Goswami, on the behalf of, on the inspiration from the Supreme Lord, he reached the place where Maharaj Parikshit was eagerly waiting to get the questions answered. What is the duty of the person who is about to die? And hearing that, Maharaj Parikshit was cursed. Demigods and all the sages with his disciples gathered at the bank of Ganga or Yamuna. There's lengthy discussion in the Prabhupada's purport. And finally, Jiva Goswami confirms it as Yamuna. And Sukdev Goswami took the seat and he narrated this beautiful pastime of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's how it came up. And this Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing this Srimad Bhagavatam, perfection is guaranteed. There's a famous glory. Not only the hearer, but the speaker. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is so perfect and it is cream of all the Vedic knowledge. Hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam with rapt attention and carefulness, it gets liberation or salvation. In our Vaishnava language, its salvation is Krishna Prema. That can be achieved both to the speaker as well as the hearer. And this Srimad Bhagavatam is also approved by the Supreme Lord, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and other Vaishnava Acharyas. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hailed the Bhagavatam as a spotless authority. Aradhyo Vrajesha Tanaya Taddama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachita Upasana Vrajavargu Vargena Va Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Amalam Puranam Prema Pumarto Mahan. So Srimad Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also gave his mat that Srimad Bhagavatam is Amala Puran. There is no mal, there is no spot, dark spot. We see ahead how it is ripened mango. Like when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performing his Sankirtana in Srivas Angan. So all the devotees were dancing and they were very hungry. So devotees approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We are hungry, Mahaprabhu. We want something to eat. Even Srivas family also in Kirtan. So Lord took one mango. Now there is a time, mango season. We are all relishing mangoes. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu honored that mango and sowed that seed of mango in the ground immediately, and Kirtan started. And sometime, out of everyone's astonishment, a big tree with full of mangoes, where there is no gutli, no chilka, only juice, amras, full of amras. So That is Srimad Bhagavatam. Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu also declared, just hearing this Srimad Bhagavatam, one will be getting Krishna Prema. And this is one of the most potent forms of Bhakti, Panchanga Bhakti. Among five steps or 5 potent forms, this is one form, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Katha. And Srila Prabhupada, or revered founder Acharya, also regarded this Srimad Bhagavatam as a sound representation of Lord Sri Krishna. And it is the postgraduate study of science of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam is a cultural representation for the re-spiritualization. Even though the current society had made rapid progress in so many material comforts, education, economic development, but there is a pinprick. I think yesterday or day before yesterday, one devotee was saying, there's a one pinprick. That's why I'm not explaining much. I'm just going through. There's a pinprick in the society. That pinprick is replaced with Srimad Bhagavatam, which will fulfill the need of the current society. And this Srimad Bhagavatam also accepting God as a concrete principle. It is not only a transcendental science, but it is ultimate source of everything. For every newcomers or in Bhagavad Gita, when we distribute, we say 3 things. What is about this Bhagavad Gita? 3 things we explain. What's that? Who am I? What is my relation with the God? Knowing this relation, what is my duty? Srimad Bhagavatam gives that answers also, because this is perfect knowledge. And by carefully reading Srimad Bhagavatam, one will know God perfectly. And readers will also be able to convert others to accepting God as a concrete principle. Just a side talk, that one devotee was mentioning that Jesus, and Srila Prabhupada also in his discussion room conversations, he mentions this. Christians know that Jesus is a son of a father, son of the God, and he did not say who is father. Muhammadans, Prophet Muhammad, he said, I am the messenger of the Lord, and he did not say much more details. Then Srila Prabhupada says this, that we know who is God. God is, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Where he lives? Vrindavan. What he does? All these information is there in our Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why here Prabhupada writing in the preface that reader will be able to convert others also to accept God. There is one of the concrete principle. Srimad Bhagavatam is the crown jewel of all revealed scriptures. Everyone can recite after me. There is a very famous verse. Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmassaranam satam. Vedyam vastavatamaत्र vastu shivadam tapatrayonmulanam. Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Kim va Parerishvara. Sadhya Hridaya Varudyate Atrakyati Vishushru Bijastakshanat. This Srimad Bhagavatam propounds the highest truth, that is the absolute truth. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it itself is sufficient for one who wishes to realize about God. And this is given by Srila Vyasadeva himself at the mature stage. We'll go ahead. There are many things. There's time constraint. We'll see. Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of the Vedic desire tree. Nigamakalpataror galitam phalam Sukhamukadamrita dravasamyutam Pibata Bhagavatam rasamalayam Muhorahorasika bhuvi bhavakaha. Anyone can read the translation?
O expert and thoughtful man, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literature. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukadev Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful. Although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including the different lineages.
There's a beautiful purport Srila Prabhupada gives on this Srimad Bhagavatam. How this Prabhupada mentioned that Sukadeva Goswami, because the touch of Sukadeva Goswami, Srimad Bhagavatam became sweeter. It's not generally when parrot touches the fruit, it becomes sweeter. Here, it does not mean that. It does not mean that Sukadeva Goswami spoke, that's why it became sweeter. Any idea why? What's the thing behind? Because the Srimad Bhagavatam coming in the parampara, because it's coming in the parampara, it does not fall down from the tree. It came from the mouth of Lord Krishna to Brahma, Brahma to Narada, Narada to Vyasadeva, and Vyasadeva to Sukdev. Because it came in the parampara, and when it came from the lips of Sukadeva Goswami, it became more sweeter. And we have some more things, elaborative things, Srila Prabhupada explains. And Srila Prabhupada says, this Srimad Bhagavatam is cream of all Vedic knowledge. It is superior, not only superior, it's ripened fruit of all Vedic literatures. Because it is some and essence or the cream of Vedanta Sutra also. So Srila Prabhupada is warning us to make a note of it in our day-to-day life, because every day we are reading and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada mentions, with great respect and attention, one should receive the message and lessons imparted by Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this shloka, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the 5 primary rasas and 12 secondary rasas, and one do not have taste for the primary rasa, one cannot taste this Srimad Bhagavatam. One cannot experience this literature of Srimad Bhagavatam. And one must also be careful to hear this message from the right source. And the Srimad Bhagavatam explains the pastimes of the Lord, and the narration is systematically depicted by Srila Sukadeva Goswami. That's why Srila Prabhupada always emphasizes every one of us to read Srimad Bhagavatam scrutinizingly, systematically, not haphazardly jump from one canto to another canto. Especially Srila Prabhupada very strongly speaks about Rasa Leela. One directly jumps over to Rasa Leela. And this subject of Srimad Bhagavatam is appealing to all classes of persons, including those who seek liberation and those who seek to become one with the Supreme Whole. Because this is the essence of all the Vedic literature. So, there are verses in Srimad Bhagavatam is for everyone. For Mayavadis also, we find Mayavadi stuff also, how Lord is in person. And for a devotees also, who accepts Krishna as a supreme personality. So, this is for everyone. Srimad Bhagavatam has to be understood only by the representative of Srila Sukadeva Goswami. And another, Srila Prabhupada always mentions this point, Srimad Bhagavatam needs to be recited for the benefit of everyone, to take them or to give the goal of love of Godhead, not to earn one's livelihood. And this Srimad Bhagavatam is ever freshing. Vayam tu na vitripya uttama shloka vikrame yat shrinvatam rasagnanam swadu swadu pade pade. Just by hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, one can relish the pastimes at every moment. Again, more and more, we see the photograph. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj as a sannyasi of ISKCON and traveling all the places. Still, he had completed our course, Bhakti Vaibhava. So this is ever fresh. Srimad Bhagavatam is for purification of conditioned soul and relished by the pure devotees. Thus, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam cleanses the desire for material enjoyment, because this message itself is very virtuous. The effect of regular attendance in Srimad Bhagavatam classes. The troublesome to the heart is completely destroyed, and loving service to Supreme Personality of Godhead is established as an irrevocable fact. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of Krishna, which we had already seen the verse. And Srila Prabhupada and Bhagavatam also explains this in the first canto, 3rd chapter, 40 verse. This is literary incarnation of God, and it is meant for ultimate good of all people, and it is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Krishna Swadama Pagate Dharma Gnana Devisa Kalonasta Drishamesha Puranarko Anoditaha. This Bhagavat Purana is as brilliant as the sun, and it has risen just after the departure of the Lord Krishna to his abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get the light from this Purana. Just reading Srimad Bhagavatam, the ignorance, darkness is removed. It acts as a torch bearer to the people, to the blind people of this age. And in this men in this age of Kali want to see the real light of life, then they must take to these two books. Srila Prabhupada writes Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and their life will be fulfilled. And Prabhupada in the purport mentions Bhagavad Gita is a preliminary study of the Bhagavatam, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the summum bonum of the life. Lord Sri Krishna is personified. And for spiritual revolutionaries, Srimad Bhagavatam is full of transcendental words directed towards bringing about a revolution in the impious lives in this world's misdirected civilization. Srimad Bhagavatam is the supreme Vedic knowledge, and it is a natural commentary on Vedanta, Mahabharata, Gayatri and the Vedas. In the first chapter, first canto, first verse, Satyam Param Dhimahi, the Gayatri mantra, as Srimad Bhagavatam explains. And this Srimad Bhagavatam contains 12 cantos, 335 chapters and 18,000 verses. This Srimad Bhagavatam mitigates the material miseries. This also extinguishes the fire and establishes the peace in the society. It extinguishes the fire of lamentation, illusion and fearfulness. By hearing the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, this false complexity of materialism is removed and real peace in the society begins. Srimad Bhagavatam is the cream of all the Vedas and the very form of Krishna. There are two kinds of Bhagavatam: Vyakti Bhagavat, Granth Bhagavat. Granth Bhagavatam is Srimad Bhagavatam, which we read every day, and the Granth Bhagavat, the pure devotee of the Lord, who always carries the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his heart. Bhagavatam is dear to the topmost Paramhamsas. Bhagavatam is understood only through the Vaishnavas only. One has to approach a self-realized Vaishnava to understand Srimad Bhagavatam. And who does not recognize Bhagavatam is doomed. And getting out of this material entanglement, Srimad Bhagavatam is the only way, and only the fortunate person receives this. And it is sufficient for preaching work. Srila Prabhupada says in his letter to Harivilas, Montreal, 10 June 1968. Just vibrating the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam will make one to become a devotee. And gifting of Srimad Bhagavatam is making everyone to avail the supreme transcendental destination, Goloka Vrindavan. Hare Krishna. Mike. Project.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Purji. Very wonderful session, powerful, energetic session. So one question is, you told that this coming from the parampara, Krishna to Brahmaji, then
Brahmaji to Narada. Sorry. Narada to Vyasdev,
Yeah.
Vyasdev to Sukdev Goswami.
But we heard different parampara. It has come through like Shankarshan, then 4 Kumaras, then like that his Bhagavatam has come.
Huh.
So
That also there.
so both paramparas.
Yes. In all 4 sampradayas, this message of Srimad Bhagavatam is given. Different way. For us, Brahma Madhya Gaudiya Sampradaya or line itself says from Brahmaji.
Okay. And Vyasdev has given other Puranas also. So how we can compare this Purana with other Puranas?
This is Mahapurana.
That's all.
It is the essence of all the things. The same author has written this, compiled this. Same author cannot say this book is good and this book is not good. He can't do that.
So everything is good, no?
But he gave at mature state. At mature state.
Okay.
When I am new, I just read Introduction to Bhagavad Gita. Now I am reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Number of years, understanding increases. The way to see things will differ. Though that's why Srila Prabhupada has written at the mature stage.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, you mentioned about there's Vedas. There was one Vedas, no? He divided into 4 Vedas.
Mm.
So I heard that Brahmaji is also having in hands 4 Vedas. So how is this relevant? Means after Brahmaji, these 4 Vedas or Vedas?
Brahmaji in the photo, if you see the
Yeah.
pictures of Brahmaji, it's written Vedam,
Veda.
one Veda.
Okay.
I noticed this because I too had this doubt. I noticed in his hands it's written Veda only.
Okay.
Vedam.
Okay.
Vedas.
So means Vedaji means he divided 4 ways. One Veda into 4, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That was Srimad Bhagavatam says very clearly. He divided thinking of our future brains. He had divided it into 4.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Good flow of thought. 12 cantos connected with the 12 parts of the body of the Lord. And that when they were dancing, Shiva Sangan and all associates with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were already in a higher taste. So why they should not have felt hungry for mangoes?
The Leela has been performed by the Lord to make us understand the devotees are hungry it means that then Lord will be showing his supernatural powers. So they want to say that. So he is Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Because when devotees say Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Krishna, he says Vishnu, Vishnu, Vishnu. So this is it's my understanding. Question.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So Narayana Prabhu, thank you for an enthusiastic presentation on the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. You covered many important points. And so many verses glorifying the Srimad Bhagavatam. You had some points for personal application, how to read scrutinizingly, systematically, from right source, and all those points were good for personal application. You did mention about Srila Prabhupada instituting daily Bhagavatam class, but definitely something more should have been spoken on Srila Prabhupada's contribution, his life's mission, his major contribution, writing the Srimad Bhagavatam and preaching it all over the world. So that definitely needed some more elaboration. And in preaching application, in the first verse, purport itself, Srila Prabhupada talks about how some people say
Vomadev.
Vopadev,
Vopadev.
and some people don't accept Puranas, they accept only Vedas. So those are some points for preaching application which could have been added. And this is a request to everyone, at least after a Bhakti Vaibhav course. So we expect no one says Narayanam Namaskrityam. It's Kritya. So many devotees somehow they try to rhyme it with the next line. And so they say Narayanam Namaskrityam. But it's not Namaskrityam, it's only Namaskrityam. It's a small thing, but still. At least after Bhakti Vaibhav. And Srila Prabhupada does explain what is the meaning of Shukamukhad. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, so Shukamukhad does not mean that he simply repeated the message of the Bhagavatam, but he added his realizations in a way that people can understand. So that's the meaning of Shukamukhad. And you quoted the verse Kaitav Dharma, but you didn't explain that the glory of the Bhagavatam is that all this Kaitav Dharma is kicked out. So that could have been mentioned. Also, Prabhupada talks about, yes, that how the Bhagavatam is mentioned in the oldest Puran, Matsya Puran. So these are some few additional points which could have been addressed. Otherwise, there was good glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam, many verses. Of course, later on you really speeded up, high speed. Some of those verses could have been recited, Nashtapraya Shabdadesha. Otherwise, it was a good presentation, well prepared, and many glories of the Srimad Bhagavatam spoken. Let's show appreciation. Haribo.
Haribo.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, good. Okay, 10 minutes break for Gayatri, and then who goes next?